Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome students in a new task for functions 2 in C++ language. Today I will discuss a task called employee rewards. The task says that in this question you should use the user-defined function as instructed in the text of the question. The question says that Ahmed is a manager in a programming company. On the company 5th anniversary, he decided to reward his employees. The amount of each employee's reward depends on his or her salary, which is equal to 10% of the salary. So Ahmed wants to give his employees a reward, and the reward represents 10% of the salary. So your role is to calculate this reward using user-defined function and to help him understand how much of the amount of budget needed to cover or to afford these rewards. So write a program to calculate the amount of budget he needs to for the rewards if the company has n employees. Now you have n employees, not just one employee, so you have to calculate to help Ahmed to calculate the budget needed or to reward these n employees. The question says also that using reward function, so the name of the function will be reward based on the question, that accepts the employee salary as an argument and returns the reward of that employee. So here this function rule is to accept the salary, then return the reward of the function of the employee. So as we know, the employee reward here equals the 10% times employee salary. So if the salary of the employee equal 100 GD, for instance, or $100, then the reward percent will be 10% of this $100, which means that the employee reward in this case will be $10. And supposed to be between 1 and 50, and the input for your code supposed to be as follows. The first line contains n, which represents the number of employees in the company. So you have to decide or to input for this code, or user must input the number of employees. And the second line contains real numbers, which mean decimal places or decimal values that represent the employees' salaries. So if we have 3 employees, you have to enter 3 real numbers that represent the salary of these employees. The output for your code should supposed to be as follows: rewards budget equals X GD or X dollar. Okay. If we have 3 employees, for instance, and the salaries for each of them are 100, 200, 300, then the reward budget will be 60 GD, and this is because the reward for each of them will represent 10% times 0.0 times 100, which means that 10 GD will be added to this employee, and the same for the next employee. 200, the salary of the employee is 200 times 0.1, then the 20 GD will be added to this employee. The same for the third one, and if we add these 3 values, then the accumulated or the budget needed is 60 GD in this case to afford these rewards for 3 employees. Let's discuss how I solve it. Okay, now simply inside the main I declare an integer variable called n, which represents the number of employees, and allow user to input values for it. Then I declare 2 float variables. They are salary and b, which represent the rewards budget, the final budget for n employees. Based on the question, they ask me to represent or to define salary as float, as real values. Then I go through a loop from I equals 0 to less than n, and allow user to enter salary for each of these n employees. And each time the salary passed to the reward function that's supposed to return the reward for this specific, for every single employee. Then I here add the value of x accumulatedly, and b will contains now all the rewards for all the employees. Okay, exit the loop, and after that I will discuss this with you later on. After exit the loop here, line 15, represents the budget needed, the total budget needed here. See out, rewards budget equals fixed precision 2, because the question asked me to print out the message or to print out the value with 2 decimal places to the right of the value, GD. The reward function here line 4 represents the prototype for the function. As I mentioned before in the class, the prototype declare that, or tell the compiler that there is a function called reward. You will face a function called reward, take a float value and return a float value. And after the compiler faced the call statement, the compiler will note that there will be a definition for a function called reward after line 12. So it continued to translate the code. Then after reaching line 18, the compiler will face the body of the header of the function reward. So float reward float s, and the reward function must return s, which is represent the salary, times 0.1, 10% of the salary. As I mentioned before, here the reward represent 10% of the salary. So if the salary 100, then 10% of 100 equals 10 GD. And this is the idea behind this code. Thank you for watching.